forgiveness, a sensitive one and a hard one, but it is something that I've learnt only truly recently, its meaning and its power. I had a hard time forgiving most of my life. I had a lot of resentment for people that have done things wrong or that I believed was wrong to me. And I held and carried that weight of those situations or altercations or whatever it was. I carried that with me for a long time, not realizing that I was choosing to hold on to what they had done to me, not allowing myself to let it go. And so I was the one continuing to harm myself with those actions months, even years after the situation had even happened. Until I learnt about true forgiveness and how it really works. I have an understanding of forgiveness this far in my journey, and I want to share that today. This is also part of the teachings of Jesus that I have learnt so far, and so I'll do my best to convey a message that he himself spoke. Forgiveness is not for others. Forgiveness is for us. A concept that I did not understand initially, nor could really comprehend until it was explained to me. And I will try to do that for you today. But when something happens in our life that causes an unhappy feeling, and say that that's caused by someone else, a situation arose and someone treated you a way that you didn't believe you were to be treated. Now, most of my life, I thought, I can't forgive you for that until you apologize to me, because I don't want to excuse your actions. I don't want to let you off the hook for something that you have done that was wrong. I believed it was wrong and caused discomfort in my life or others' lives. And so I chose not to forgive because I didn't want to let them off the hook for what they have done. Until I realized that forgiveness was about getting me off the hook. I know that sounds a bit abstract, but let me explain. So, when we have had something done to us and we are holding resentment and judgment towards that person, well, we are actually creating or recreating, more so, a feeling that happened, that we experienced in the very first moment that person did something that we didn't agree with to us. And by holding on to that resentment and that judgment, we continued to affect ourselves because we couldn't let go. So every time it popped up into our mind or we saw that person and we were reminded of what they did to us, we recreated that experience, that pain, and we continued to suffer. And so it was explained to me one day that forgiveness is for ourselves. And here's why. Because when we choose to forgive and understand that the way someone acted towards us was not a reflection of ourselves and our worth, but a reflection of where they were in that moment, what they were feeling, how their day had gone, who had been mean to them, whatever it was that created them to be this way in front of us, that was on them, that was within them. And so choosing to forgive them didn't get them off the hook, but it allowed me to let go of that weight that I was carrying for what had been done to me, right? I chose to forgive through accepting that they did not know any better in that moment and allowing me to come back to a place of love for them, even with what they have done. I realized allowed me to let go of that weight I was carrying. And so when I would see that person or experience life with them, I no longer held that resentment, that grudge. So I was no longer creating pain in my own life, which I never really looked at it like that before, you know. Forgiveness didn't get them off the hook because they didn't know I had forgiven them. They hadn't come to apologize, so I had never let them know they are forgiven. But yet it changed something for me because I was no longer carrying that weight anymore. I had freed myself from the situation, even though it had happened to me. When really it was a lesson that I was able to move forward with and become a better version of myself with. So you could say that it happened for me. I know it can be hard sometimes when people have done things to you and you may feel very betrayed and that those actions were not justified. But those actions weren't a reflection of you. They didn't happen to you. They happened because of who they were in that moment. And sometimes, depending on the day we've had or week we've had, we might not be able to show up as our best selves. And I'm sure we've all experienced that in some way. And understanding this, it makes it easier to accept people for how they are in each moment because we don't know what's happened prior to that to cause them to show up this way. But when we forgive, we let that weight go. We no longer carry and harbor that pain and that resentment and that anger towards those people. Here's where it goes even further. Because from that very moment that that pain was caused and you chose to carry it with you each day, each week, each year, however long you have harbored, and I have harbored pain for years myself. So it's okay. But from that very moment on, I was the one responsible for recreating that pain in my life. I was the one responsible for holding on to what had been done a week, a year, 2 years prior. That person that it happened with might not have even been thinking about it, you know? Could have just been a fleeting moment of anger in their life, but I held on to it because I didn't think I was deserving of it, right? So, as I began to understand that forgiving them was a big step in letting that weight go, I also had to forgive myself. And that was a harder pill to swallow, especially when you think something's been done to you and you're at no fault. Well, because I didn't, because I wasn't able to see the right thing to do was to forgive and let go, I continued to hurt myself by holding on to it, recreating those feelings time and time again, which happened because of my own doing. So, going further than just forgiving others, forgiving ourselves for not knowing any better, for being unaware, for not having the knowledge that we needed at the time, forgiving ourselves for that is also an important step too, because we played a part in that very problem in the first place. And so forgiving others for what they have done to us and forgiving ourselves for what we have done to us are just as important as each other. But I promise, if you can find the compassion to forgive those for what they have done to you, knowing that what they did to you was not about you, but more about them and where they were at that moment, you're going to be able to let go of a lot of weight, a lot of pressure in your mind, a lot of pain in your heart that you don't have to carry with you. And so then you won't be creating from that space. And therefore, you'll have more space for love. And well, it is my belief that that space being filled with love is all we truly need to focus on to create the life that we truly desire. Because that life is about love. I hope this message finds you today and is able to speak the truth to you. If this message isn't for you, like all the others, disregard it, move on with your day and live it how you want to because you deserve that. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you on the next one.